Can everyone see my PowerPoint presentation?
Looks good on our end here.
Okay, great. Well, I am Rachel Fisher. I'm the Member Services Librarian for Technical Services at CCS. And today is a session called Leap Hour for Serials. So today's training session is a concept that we first heard about from another library that scheduled an hour for everyone in the Technical Services Department to plan to complete their daily tasks in LEAP. So I know this could be a bit challenging because LEAP hasn't been completely finished yet, but we're just going to give that a try with serials because the serials check-in functions are ready to use. So even though it isn't required for you to work in LEAP yet, CCS staff would like to just encourage you to just give it a try for your daily tasks and let us know if you encounter any problems so we can relay those issues to Innovative or document any new workflow needs that you identify. So if you think something works differently in LEAP than it did in the client, we'd like to document it so that we can identify any important differences that could alter your workflow. So today I'm going to begin with an overview of the current state of serial holdings records in LEAP. So I will demonstrate the current features so that you can get a glimpse of what it will look like to work with serial holdings records when they are completely functional. I'll then demonstrate features for searching for the different serials records and navigating to linked records because the search capabilities of linked records are organized a bit differently than in the client. Then I'll review the capabilities of the serial holdings records. Then I'll review the capabilities of serial check-in records again. So that might be a review for some of you. And then I'd like to take a brief break from talking to you so that everyone can open up LEAP and practice checking in a new issue record during this webinar. And if you don't have a new issue to check in, you can use the training server to practice checking in and issue for any magazine that's in there. After this session is over, I recommend setting aside an hour of your time to use LEAP for serials check-in instead of using the client. Innovative has not added all of the functions to the serial holdings records that are needed for a complete workflow yet. So I haven't created any new documentation, but I will send out an email with links to all the previous documentation that I've created after the webinar. And today I'll just provide you with a preview of the new features so that you can get an idea of what serial holdings records look like in LEAP and what they'll look like when Innovative has completed the work. With the 7.2 update, you can create and edit serial holdings records. However, the ability to create new publication patterns or copying an existing record is still missing. So far, Innovative has added in the functions to view publication patterns that exist and edit specific fields of the publication pattern, close and reopen the publication pattern, and delete them. So now I'm just going to switch over to LEAP to demonstrate how to create a new serial holdings record. One moment, I have to switch my screen. One moment. Zoom is getting a bit glitchy and isn't opening up my meeting controls. Okay, so you should now see my browser. So when creating a new serial holdings record, you will need to start from the new drop-down menu for now. At this time, you cannot create a new serial holdings record by copying an existing one, nor can you start from a bibliographic record yet to create that serial holdings record from the bibliographic record. So when you press serial holdings record, it will open up a new work form. And you can see on the details screen, it does have the same fields as what you would find on the details screen for the serial holdings record in the client. And you can see this beginning of the publication pattern down at the bottom, but it doesn't allow you to create a new publication pattern yet. So I'm just going to update some of these fields. Currently received is the status. We'll make this collection magazines and material type magazine. And to link this to the bibliographic record, you do have to press find and search for a periodical. So I'm going to add in the condition, type of material, for periodical, and press apply, and I'll just search for time. Oh, life came up first. Let's see, money, I'll just pick one of those and apply that. And type in a prefix. And press save. So now here we have our new serial holdings record. And there's also the tab for any notes, orders if you use the order screen, and a claim screen if you use the claims. So the best way to get a better idea of how the publication pattern screen will look is to search for one of the existing records. So I am now going to demonstrate the search and navigation features as I search for that serial holdings record to show you. So you can access serial holdings record in 3 ways: from the find tool, from a check-in record, and from the issue record that's linked to an item record. So to access the find tool, you can click on find at the top of the screen. And we're going to search for the serial holdings record first. So in the filters, I had previously demonstrated that the filters weren't functioning right because they didn't have the branch button. For the serial holdings record, branch is there. And you can select one of the branches. I'm just going to select Evanston today and press apply. And I'll type in art news. This is Evanston serial holdings record for art news. And you can see down at the bottom, they do have a publication pattern that's open. So I'm going to click on that. And you can see that this opens up to the details page where you'd be able to, at this time, only edit a few things, not everything, like the notes fields. You can edit the checkboxes for generate items at check-in and prompt for barcode, and unit price. You can get a preview of the designation. And at this time, checking a box for these designations doesn't do anything yet. It's not finished, so this should be updated soon. And there's also the regularity pattern screen, and also checking these boxes just doesn't do anything yet. So I'm going to close that. And the only options that we do have for editing publication patterns is to close the pattern. So if you check the box, you can press close and press continue. You can also check the box again to reopen the pattern and then press continue. If you do close the pattern, you can also press delete. So if I were to need to navigate to this from the bibliographic record, it does have links on the serial holdings record to get to that bibliographic record. So that's what I have done. However, if you need to get from the bibliographic record to the serial holdings record, you need to open up your item record. And then there is a link to the issue control number at the top of the screen. You can click on that. And then this also has a link to the serial holdings record ID. And if you click on that, it will take you to the serial holdings record. So it's a bit a roundabout way of going to the serial holdings record. So it's probably easier to just search for it with the find tool or access it from the check-in record if you need to, but it is there as an option for the future. So if it's one example where the workflow is a bit different right now in Leap than in the client, because in the client, there are those nice links drop-down menu at the top that have all of the records linked to it. But if you just look at this one in the serial holdings record, for an example, it just goes to the serials check-in record. And you have to click on these links in the header area to get to the other records when they exist, like the bib control number is here. So it is slightly different. And if Innovative doesn't add additional links to the links drop-down menu, that's something we might want to consider, or I might want to consider adding as an Idea Lab suggestion. So if you have any suggestions on things like that, that you feel need to be improved, feel free to let me know. I can help you with the Idea Lab suggestion. You're welcome to submit it to the Idea Lab yourself. But I'd also be willing to help you submit any suggestions that you have. Do you have any questions on what I've demonstrated so far? Feel free to unmute yourself or type in the chat. If I've gone too fast, feel free to let me know. I can slow down and demonstrate something again. I don't see any comments, so I'm going to segue into the demonstration on serials check-in. Again, I know you may all be familiar with that because I have demonstrated it before, but now's a good time for a review. So in order to check in a serial and access the serials check-in record, you need to click on this utilities drop-down menu at the top and then click on serials check-in. So this will open the find tool. At the top, it says it's for serials holdings records at the moment, but it does open the serials check-in record. So I'm going to open up an example I made and search for Sports Illustrated. So the search filters do have branch here too. So you could type it. you could type in your branch here, but it's not quite functioning yet. So I just want to point this out because it looks like it's there, but it will only work once the drop-down menu is added. So this cannot be applied and work properly yet. And you do have to unfortunately scroll down through all your all the records to see if you can find your check-in record. So I'm going to open up this example that I made for Sports Illustrated. So this has some extra publication patterns that have predicted that are not necessary. So this is a great example of when I can delete one that I can easily delete. So I'm going to click on summer and press delete. And to check in the record for September, you can easily just click the checkbox and press check in. The create item or issue part screen does pop up, and then you have to enter in a barcode and press continue. And that checks in the record and creates the new item record. So you can find that by using this issue part status drop-down menu to filter to see the received issue record. If you click on it, you can open it up to take a look at the issue record. I'm going to filter that again to see the expected issues. It also allows you to combine issues. If you click on two issues to combine, you can press the Combine Issues button. And this Combine Issues screen opens so you can get a preview of the designation. You can type in any notes and then press Continue. So that just combines the issue and doesn't check it in. To check it in, you then have to select the box and then press check in. And you can type in your barcode again and press continue. So now we have two issues that I've checked in. If you click on any of the received issues, you can undo the check-in. I'm going to undo the check-in of the October and November issue. And when you are ready to withdraw any issues, you can simply check the box for the issue that needs to be withdrawn and press delete. You'll see a message asking if you're sure you want to delete the issue or part, and then you can press yes. So it will ask you in the next dialog box if you're sure you want to delete the issue or part again, and then press yes. If you do need to add any new issues, you can do so under the Actions menu. This includes predict issues or parts or add issue or part. So if you were to receive a special issue, you would click on Add Issue or Part. You do need to have a completely irregular pattern available for that special issue to be able to add one. So I'm going to click on that. This will open up the new issue record, and you can type in the title for the free text or just special issue, whatever that special issue is called. And if you needed to alter the year, you can do that. If you had made this a special issue with the chronology of month and year, you would see month and year in the year drop-down menu, not just year. And then you can press save after you've edited the issue record. Does anyone have any questions on what I've demonstrated? Is there any
Hi.
requests? Oh,
This is Joe at Huntley. So when you just did that and it said free text in front of it, does that display in the pack? The words free text?
that hadn't happened before. I've done it successfully. I might need to take a look at that publication pattern. Let me try to check it in and see what happens. I didn't see the dialog box for the item record, so I'd have to update the publication pattern to include that item record. Let's see if I can do that. So that'll be a good example for editing the publication patterns in LEAP. So here's my completely irregular pattern. Let's take a look at it. So it did not have generate items at check-in or prompt for barcode checked. So I'm going to do that now. And let's see. Oh, it looks like the publication pattern that I copied is does display that word free text and shouldn't. So something is not quite right about that. I'll have to take a look at that to see if that can be fixed.
Okay, so it's looking like it was just because that's the way that pattern.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Let's see. I'm gonna see what happens when I check that in. And open up that item record.
So on that last screen that you just had, it did say for the issue, free text.
Right, let's see. So if I scroll down to cooperative computer service, I do see free text here, so I'll have to take a look at that. There's probably just a mistake in the publication pattern. It normally wouldn't display that.
Okay,
I had just copied some random publication patterns in, so I didn't look too hard at those. Sorry about that. I couldn't think of a magazine off the top of my head that already had a special issue publication pattern in it.
totally understand that.
Are there any other questions or requests for demonstrations?
This is Joe again. I have another question.
Sure.
So in using leave, is there a way you can do like the titles that have a route list with them? We didn't see anything to print the route list?
Route lists have not been added to LEAP yet.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure. They are not completing publication patterns with the next upgrade. It's going to be the upgrade after that. So that should be in January. So what we're looking forward to for the upcoming upgrade in the fall is the ability to overlay the bibliographic records so that we can properly deduplicate all the records in LEAP. So that should allow catalogers to have a complete workflow in LEAP and not have to use the client for that. The other thing that will not be added yet for serials, though, is the serials labels. There's only the capability of printing spine labels from the item records. I know some libraries do use the item records for serials, but many of them just use issue records to maintain the volume designation and don't use the volume designation in the item records. So some libraries have been already printing their serials records, their serials labels, I mean, by adding the volume designation into the item record, but I know that's not the common practice. So unfortunately, those serial labels are not going to be available until the January upgrade. And so it would be nice if that were available sooner, but we will be getting that as soon as Innovative is capable of adding that into LEAP. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen for now. And we are going to take some time that you can open up LEAP on your end. You can use production if you have a serial to check in. That's ready to check in, or if you don't, you can use the training version of LEAP. So I'm going to post some links in the chat. The first one is the link for production. And the next one is going to be for training. So you can keep Zoom on and just minimize the screen and take some time to check in a serial or two, or do some other tasks if you need to withdraw a serial, or just examine the records as you feel comfortable doing so. And let me know by typing in the chat when you're done with your task. And if you have any questions while you are working on your task, feel free to type it in the chat or unmute yourself and ask a question. Helga is asking a question in the chat. She asks, do I need to use the check-in link under utilities each time I want to search a title? When you do need to check in a record, you need to use the link under utilities to access that check-in record. So I haven't found any good way to access it. Other than a similar workflow of just using the find tool to find the serial holdings record and then accessing the check-in record from the serial holdings record. But I'm not sure if they're going to add any other options to link to the check-in record from the bibliographic record or other records yet. I think the quickest is just to use the utilities drop-down menu. Helga asks if Leap has any keyboard shortcuts. There are no keyboard shortcuts yet. Helga, what is your preferred way to access the check-in record in the client?
The search box just remains open. So you check in, close that particular check-in, and the search box is still open. So it's just a less clicking.
Okay. I have found that that is one of the things that is a bit different from the client. The find tool does not stay open, so you have to get used to navigating it by clicking on the results or opening up the find tool again to start over again without keeping your filters. It can be a bit annoying because you have to set up those filters again without it staying open the way it does in the client.
Yes, from other things that I have tried with cataloging, both myself and my cataloger, we just find those portions really inefficient, like you're constantly reopening things. That seems across most of the cataloging actions that we've tried in Leap. So currently we aren't using Leap at all in the technical services side.
Deborah Miller asks, is there a way to change the shelf location of the issue? I'm gonna have to take a look at that. I have an issue record open and it looks like the shelf location is not in the issue record. So you would have to navigate to the item record to change the shelf location in the item record. So I'm going to share my screen one moment. So I have an item record open for art news. And the shelf location is on the details tab right here. Does anyone else need more time to try your tasks in Leap? Are there any other questions? Are there any comments that you have on your experience with using Leaps to check in records? Do you feel that this is something that you'd be comfortable with doing for your regular daily serials check-in tasks? Or do you still feel like you'd prefer to stick with the client? Deborah asked if I could review how to get to the item record. Sure. So I was on, let's see, I'm gonna go to, I was on the issue record, and I'm gonna go to the serial holdings record. So from the serial holdings record, you have a link to the bib control number here. So one way would be from the serial holdings record. You can click on this bib control number and then access the item record from the list of item records. So I'm just going to open one up. If I was on an issue record, I would have a link to an item record right here. So I could click on that item record directly in the issue record. And so from the serial holdings record, there is a links drop-down menu that will take you to the serials check-in record. And this Crystal Lake check-in record is not currently received, so that's a bad example. I'll have to go to a different record. Let's try, I think Evanston's was still listed as currently received. So if you are on the check-in record, one way to get to the item records is by opening up a received issue. This opens the issue record, and then you'll have the item record link. On the left-hand side, there's also the serial holdings record ID and the bibliographic control number. So Michelle says that the check-in part is pretty clear, but she's used to easily accessing the item records while I check issues in. That seems to be a bit more complicated in Leap. I do think they need to add in some better links, like more records to the links drop-down menu. I think that would be a bit easier. And I can definitely understand that when you're using the label function to print serials labels, you would want to continue using the client until you can print the serials labels properly. Kelly asks if there is a way to separate two issues that are combined by accident. That does not exist in LEAP yet, but that is a good suggestion. I'll have to write that down. That's something that we could do an idea lab suggestion for. Michelle says that she has to often delete or modify item records for previous issues after we check in a new issue. Do you think that this will be problematic with the way LEAP is currently created? It might be more time consuming. Great. Thank you all for all of your comments and suggestions. I definitely want to pass on any comments that you have, any idea lab suggestions that you have so that we can help Innovative make improvements to the software. They really like to hear from CCS. We're always testing it and finding new bugs and reporting them. So I think it's really important to hear from everyone. And the concept of the LEAP hour for serials is to try to continue to use LEAP for just like 1 hour of your tasks or after the session is over. So I would like to encourage you to do so. You're not required to do so, obviously, but it will help you to become more familiar with LEAP. And if you have any other ideas or suggestions on how to improve LEAP or something that you find is potentially a problem, like a bug or a glitch that needs to be fixed, please do let us know by emailing the help desk so that we can report the issue to Innovative and document anything. So I am going to give you one more link. Today, it is the link to our training survey. We're always interested in knowing what you think of our training offerings at CCS so that we can improve them. So please do fill out the survey after today's session. I'll be emailing out the recording of the session today so that you can review it. And this will include links to the training resources and the brief PowerPoint that I had. So if there are no other questions or comments today, we can adjourn our session. Well, have a great day, everyone.